In 1837, a queen, young but eager to take on the throne, brought England to its peak of success. This was the Victorian era.
Queen Victoria, at only 18 years of age, stated by ABC Clio, had restored dignity and respect to the crown and affection for the monarch. Victoria married a German prince, Albert, of Saxe-Coburg-Gotha. Together, they lived through one of the happiest royal marriages ever recorded.
Queen Victoria cleared the way for new advancements in technology, society, and literature. England was undergoing an industrial revolution. This caused for the amount of inventions to rise greatly. The most exceptional of the inventions was the railway system. This was created due to the discovery of steam power. The unimaginable force of the train caused many citizens to be doubtful of its safety and ability, but once people found it useful, it was built to reach all across the country. The steam locomotive and the improved postal system had a huge impact on London culture. In England, the mail would be collected 10 times a day and could be delivered in an hour and a half.
This also called for the invention of the postage stamp. Some inventions were more geared towards the entertainment of the people. Thomas Alva Edison in 1893 had a breakthrough in moving picture technology. He created a simpler but a more superior way to view this invention. He also, later in his life, created the first electric light bulb. These replaced the gas lights in the streets of London.
Science was another idea that was further developed during this era. A great scientist, Charles Darwin, based his theories on the idea and studies of human evolution. He wrote a book called The Origin of Species that was a top seller in London. Written by Salisbury, the general spread of scientific awareness has cast doubt on the biblical account of creation by revealing the great age of the earth and the late appearance of humankind. Charles Darwin started a revolution of uncertainty among the people about the Church's teaching of the Christian Bible. But he was not alone in his scientific queries. Many middle-class folks had hobbies or studies including scientific topics. Some studied animals, plants, fossils, and shells, while others worked in chemistry, physics, and geography. Some of the scientific discoveries and inventions were displayed in the Great Exhibition of 1851.
At the Crystal Palace in London, 25,000 people gathered to experience the wonders of science. Organized by Prince Albert, husband of Queen Victoria, the Great Exhibition changed the culture by introducing new inventions and ideas. Although the exhibition was a major event, it had little to do with the growing political and social happenings that were to occur in the future. The first event that had affected England was the Irish potato famine of 1845. When the Irish fled their barren land, they had left behind gargantuan amounts of corn for the English to swipe. The famine, lasting for 3 years, caused the Irish to immigrate to the Americas. 20 years after the famine, the second of the two reform bills was passed. These bills changed the voting system by granting more power to the people's say in elections. The first bill, that was passed in 1832, gave the middle class a greater percentage of the vote. The second reform bill was created in 1867, and it gave the vote to the town workers. These two reform bills redesigned the method of electing officials in London.
Prior to the second bill, India was threatening their mother country of England. In the 1700s, the two religions in India, Muslim and Hindu, were waging a war against each other, and the British Empire took power. They took advantage of their raw materials to send back to England at the expense of the Indian economy. By the year 1857, they had successfully captured the land and had settled in India, but the native Indian army had rebelled against England rule. This Indian Rebellion of 1857, or the Indian Mutiny, impacted the power of England. British troops were sent to silence the rebels and ended up destroying the city of Delhi. By 1858, the mutiny had ceased and Queen Victoria was named Empress of India in 1876.
Back in England, the Empress and her people still were entertained by the literature of that day. Several authors were introducing their writing to the public. The publishing companies contributed to the increase of written works by producing some 40,000 novels during this period. Some of these intelligent authors and poets included Charles Dickens, Alfred Lord Tennyson, Charlotte and Emily Bronte, Mary Ann Evans, William Makepeace Thackeray, Anthony Trollope, Arthur Conan Doyle, and Thomas Hardy. The most famous or well-known of these authors is Charles Dickens. His novels included Oliver Twist, Hard Times, David Copperfield, Great Expectations, and A Tale of Two Cities. Dickens' work told about the lives of poor and neglected people.
Charlotte and Emily Bronte wrote the famous classic of Jane Eyre and Wuthering Heights. The last author worth mentioning is Arthur Conan Doyle, who created the masterpiece of Sherlock Holmes. This just goes to show you that entertainment is timeless and classics can excite people of all ages. The Victorian era was a time of great conquest and everlasting influence.